In this video, we're going to talk about inner voices and how they can impact your ballad playing. Inner voices are basically notes or lines that move in between chords. And these are used a lot by people like Bill Evans, Barry Harris, and others. And in this video, we're going to discuss how to approach inner voices for minor chords, for major chords, and for dominant chords. And I'm also going to show you how to use them in a real-world context in a jazz ballad. All right, let's dive in and get started. We're going to start with minor chords. So for minor chords, the 6th is available, and then the 7th, and then the major 7th, and then the root. So the notes that are available, again, are the 6th, the 7th, major 7th, and the root. Now, you'll often hear that line cliche played going down in the bass. So if it were the low note, it's basically falling here. So often I'll play some blues over things like that. Okay, so that's fun. You can also play those notes as the inner voices to chords. For example, here we have a G minor 9 chord. So we're starting with the root here, falling to become the major 7th, then the minor 7th, and then the 6th. All right, let's move on to dominant 7th chords. Essentially, every note of the chromatic scale is available to use as an inner voice. So it's often notes that follow each other by a half step. I often focus on the altered notes in the scale. First one being the flat 9, then the sharp 9, then the sharp 11, and then the flat 13. So these notes. So if you use those in a line cliche, so dominant 7th chords, pretty much anything goes. Okay, let's take a look at the pattern. Starting here, we've got a couple of bars where we're utilizing these notes of the scale as passing notes and inner voices. And then another example of that is one that starts on the sharp 11 and then falls by half steps and then resolves to the 6th of the F major 9 chord. So a little bit different sound. And then finally, for major 7th chords, you have available the sharp 5 here, the 6th, and the major 7th. And often, if you're sitting on a major 7th chord for a while, you can mix those notes up a little bit like this. So for resolving to F major 7th, and And finally, I've written out some sheet music for the jazz standard Easy Living with some of these examples in the piece itself. So we're only going to do the first chorus, so let me play that for you and then we'll come back and talk about it. Let's take a look at all the places that we used inner voices. And right off the bat, the first few notes are using these inner voices here, where for the major 7th chord, remember, we could use the flat 6 and the 6th, and the major 7th, which we're not using here, but we're using the first 2. So here's some inner voices working where we've got the 13 and flat 13 here coming down to the 5th of the chord. Here we're playing the sharp 11 and then the 11th and then the 10th. And there's that left hand inner voice that we had at the beginning. And of course, for the minor chord, we're starting on the root and we're going to the major 7th, then the 7th, and then the 6th. So here it's interesting where we have the 9th and the flat 9 of C7, but also in the left hand, we're using the 4th and the 3rd to follow those notes. So it's not only one hand that can play inner voices, it's both hands. So and for the A7 plus 5, we have the sharp 5 here, which is the F sharp falling to the F, and then we've got the 9th of D9, and then the flat 9 of D9. And the left hand is following that here as well, where the left hand is going from 4 to 3. And the last bar is essentially a repeat of the previous bar. It's just going down as a 2-5 of F instead of a 2-5 of G. So it's like this. So you've got those two bars, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. All right, so that's basically how to play inner voices on ballads. I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, you can post them below. Right now, I'm going to post a link up here in the corner to the sheet music that I've written out, which basically shows you all of the inner voices for minor chords, major chords, and dominant chords, and also the transcription for Easy Living that we've been working on. Okay, so I hope that's helpful to you. We'll see you in the next video. If you like this one, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And when you do, just hit the little bell because you'll be notified of upcoming videos. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We'll see you in another video.